Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to where energy meets the divine. Today, I would like to talk a bit about working on this beautiful connection you have with your spirit guides so that you can start to recognize the little hints and persuasion, frequency, movement, so that you can maybe stop listening to your analytical brain, because that's not the intuitive process. The brain is only for logic, and it's fabulous. I need to remember to turn down my phone so that if anyone tries to call me, you guys won't hear anything, right? And to also silence something. So that's for the logical mind, right? The logical mind is to do logical things. And yet, when it comes to the multisensory world, which means spirit guides, angels, creation, God, a lot of the interactions that we have outside of Earth, I call multisensory. Although you could have a multisensory experience with a tree or a body of water, a bird. Charles, we have a lot of multisensory experiences. He's really fun. And so many individuals want to have guidance and deserve to have it. And the beautiful thing is that you have everything inside of you already to have conscious guidance with your spirit guides. Your spirit guides are beings who you chose to guide you in this lifetime. You picked them before you reincarnated. And when you picked them, they also had to agree that they wanted to guide you from the moment you were conceived until you are safely crossed over on the other side. And sometimes that is negotiable when a person leaves their body and they don't want to cross to the other side, and they want to spend a lot of time, maybe years and years and years, in the astral plane, or to be more like a ghost. The guides may not want to continue guiding under those circumstances. That'll be another decision that they make. So overall, though, everyone, when they cross over, then the guides and you meet up and hug each other and kiss each other and say, thank you, I love you, that was super fun. And the guides go off and maybe they reincarnate into a different reality. Maybe they go back to guiding again. Everyone has guided others before, most beings. Maybe some really young souls haven't, but most beings have guided other beings. So your spirit guides, after you've chosen them and they've agreed, and you might start off with 3 or 20. There's all different numbers of spirit guides. I've never met anyone who has only one spirit guide. I've never experienced that. I personally only have 3, but I've had up to 27 at one time. When I first started doing energy medicine, I had a lot of guides around me, teaching me something I think I've known in previous lifetimes, healing and energy consciousness, reminding me of what I already knew or helping me to remember all about it. So it's not uncommon when you reincarnate to Earth, and if you start to expand and want to do more things that are in alignment with your higher self, and perhaps your guides they didn't know for sure that you were going to. Because sometimes souls, when they come to Earth, they'll try multiple reincarnations to experience a desire. Like, I'm sure I wanted to do energy work here, but maybe I tried before and never really made it in any positive movement. And so my guides, I wasn't set up for all the guides that could help me with energy work. But it doesn't matter whether you have them all right now, because if you need more guides, there's always more available to assist you on anything. So people who have major career changes are going to get a whole bunch of help and support. That means different guides are going to come. Or if someone moves to a different country and their guide group wasn't prepared for that transition, because free will is the strongest law in the universe, so we all get to choose what we want to do. Humans don't always feel that way. They don't always feel like they have free will. We tend to let circumstances make our decisions, or what we think other people would want for us, or what is the right thing. We tend to allow ourselves to make choices based on these outside circumstances. But if someone were to move to a foreign country and that was never even a consideration prior to incarnating, they may not have all the guides necessary to successfully move about a foreign country, right? Especially if they don't know the language or the customs, especially if someone's moving there in a relationship and one person's going to work and the other one doesn't have a job. You're going to need extra help to do all the exploring and, activities needed for the home if you're going to, be the homemaker, whether you're the gentleman or the female or however you identify for the home. So learning how to recognize signs and be present and open to messages is critical, I think, so that you can move forward and make things happen faster. Not too fast. We're not saying, oh, we're all moving too slow here on Earth and we got to pick up the pace. No, that's not necessarily true. And whatever decision you make, even if it's not in alignment with what your guides are recommending for you, you're still going to learn. You're still going to gain knowledge. You're still going to move forward. It's just going to be different. Probably more challenging, but some people want it that way. They don't know how to be okay with things being easy. They don't know how to be okay with things being fun. In the mirror this morning, after listening to something on YouTube, I decided to look in the mirror, look in my eyes, and tell myself 25 times that I loved myself. Like, I love you. I love you. And I noticed right around 15, it was starting to get a little uncomfortable. So, but that doesn't mean I should stop or that there's a problem. There's just some resistance I'm moving through. And obviously, whatever I listened to yesterday was a great idea for my being to maybe get a little uncomfortable and kind of stretch my muscle of self-love and self-worth. And that's what your guides do for you. They help you get on the right path, or the path that will be the most fortunate, if you will, or the easiest. And of course, if you choose the other path, that's okay too. But wouldn't it be nice if you started to listen to your natural guidance system that's already inside of you? As you know, I believe in higher frequency and higher vibrational experiences. I think that's when we are in alignment with our intuition, when you can hear your spirit guides, when you can hear the universe. And so if you can start to, in your regular life, notice when things are feeling good and when things are not feeling so good. Now, my example about this morning feeling resistance when I got to number 15 of I love you, as I looked into my eyes, that would not be a sign to stop. That wasn't a negative sign. That wasn't a message from my spirit guides. What are you doing? You're wasting time. That was just the resistance I can feel with my own being that's somewhat uncomfortable with spending conscious one-on-one time with myself, saying beautiful and wonderful things that I deserve from me to me. So that's a different feeling versus something that just doesn't feel okay. So here's an example. Let's say you want to go for a long walk, and there are multiple places that you could do this activity. Some of them require you getting in a car. Some of them just require you stepping out of the house. And you're not sure which path would be the most rewarding, fun, interesting. So you're going to ask your spirit guides. And I recommend you start conversations with your spirit guides. Like, they're on call. They're on call 24/7 for all of your existence in this current lifetime. And they're waiting in a way for you to go, hey, which walk would be in my highest good? So when we ask a question, in this case to the spirit world, to your spirit guides who are devoted to you, who went and studied the Akashic records of all your past lives after there was this mutual agreement that you're going to be guided by them. Like, they spent years, human years, studying all of your lives, all of your past lives, not just the ones related to Earth, which the Akashic records is this really cool library that exists in the fourth dimension of the astral plane, also called the psychic realm. It's this really cool public library. Anyone can go there if they want. I'll make a meditation for it this week. That should be really fun. And your guides went to the Akashic Records, which is a library for all the lifetimes that are related to Earth or about Earth or only happened on Earth. In non-physical realities, I don't think the library is necessary. I've never heard of one. I think when you're in a non-physical lifetime, it just kind of, the important memories and basic information just kind of embeds inside of you. But in a physical reality, it's different. And because we don't remember our previous lifetimes before we encounter a lifetime on Earth, most people don't, then we have this beautiful public library, Akashic Records, where people can go and look at scrolls, which are part of previous lifetimes, and get knowledge and information. So your guides have all of that. They know everything about you. They know what to, they can predict your activities. And that's why they'll reach out over and over and over again, trying to get you to go in a different direction that will be highly beneficial for you. So we're just going to start chatting with the spirit guides through this simple question is please express to me whatever's in my highest good about where to walk today. And I would say practice with simple questions. I think it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You want to get comfortable with, like, is that a green light or is that a, ask another question. So we use the phrase, or I do, and I teach this phrase, please express to me whatever's in my highest good, because the mind does not know what the highest good means. And the highest good is a pretty big, bubbly mass of high frequency vibration that could bring a lot of cool and interesting things to you. Like it's profound. Anything in the highest good is very, very, very profound, like really, really profound. And before you ask the question, you want to, am I happy? You want to get your energy elevated, whatever that means to you. Maybe go smell something lovely, go drink something delicious, do a couple jumping jacks if that makes you happy. Look in the mirror and maybe 5 times tell yourself that you love yourself. And then close your eyes, rest in the lower half of your body. Wiggle your toes, feel your glute muscles if you're sitting. Feel the lower half of your body. And when you feel somewhat relaxed and as if there's like an empty space inside of you, because everything happens in the nothingness. All the things that we want to experience are invited through the nothingness. Then go ahead and ask, silently or out loud, please express to me whatever's my highest good about a walk. And then you want to detach. You want to not think about it anymore. Don't ask it a bunch of times. Let go, distract yourself, perhaps wiggle your toes again, feel your cheek muscles, feel the warmth of your hands if they happen to be on your lap. And just wait until you get some sort of inspiration. Because when you do that, even if it's something that isn't going to be life-altering for you, like maybe the walk isn't going to be life-altering for you, but it's going to set you up to make things more positive, easier, interesting. You might have a great sighting on your walk of some really cool creature. You might run into a friend you haven't seen in 15 years. You might say to yourself after the walk, I'm so glad I chose this walk because I forgot I have all these other things I have to do. And if I chose walk, number 4, I'd still have another mile before I can return to my car. So your spirit guides know everything about you and what you're experiencing and what is in your personal highest good. So please practice connecting and communicating with them and allowing yourself to get information. You might get a picture, you might hear something, you might feel something. It's going to be positive. It will not be negative, I promise you. And yeah, that's what I would love for you to start doing. I think it would be quite wonderful to begin to get this connection that you already have with your spirit guide group to make it more conscious and fun and interesting. I think it's really, really interesting. And I still become surprised today when I'm giving information that, of course, will always go against your logical mind. And then the backstory kind of comes forward as I follow the guidance, and I'm surprised yet delighted and fulfilled with following this wonderful purpose of energy and life force. Okay, I'm going to go to the phone lines now. If you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe. You can also go to energyintuitive.com or mariemanuchehri.com. Go to the podcast page, leave me a voicemail, and I will answer it for you as soon as I can. As soon as it becomes available to me while I'm working.
Hi, Marie. My name is Danae. I lost my mom when I was 14, and just in the last 2 years, I have really had a lot of healing start to happen from childhood
Mm,
traumas and the loss of her and
mm,
everything that's happened in my life. And I started having some, what I now think, spirit encounters in different places I've lived. One of which last year around this time, I was awoken in the middle of the night and the whole house was completely silent to footsteps walking next to me
mm.
on the hardwood floor next to my bed. And they were leaving the room. I started opening my eyes and I saw a shining, angelic like female
Mm.
from the back that had like this beautiful white and light blue aura around her. And I was very startled and kind of stunned, but wasn't necessarily fear stricken. And I thought, oh, maybe that's my mom. I do now think that it was her. Like I said, I've been on a steady journey of being more open to spirit things. And, like, for instance, we had a book drop in the middle of the night out of nowhere. Just different things happen, and none of which has necessarily been very scary, but very startling.
Mm.
And I just wondered if there was any way that you could give me any indication or any insight from my mom or females that have passed on in my family, because I've had such a strong mother wound that now that I'm healing that, I
Yeah.
feel that things are starting to make more sense. I see repeating numbers. I feel her presence, and I
Yeah.
had her grandma is passed away the same exact age in her 30s from breast cancer as my mom, who passed away in her 30s from breast cancer. And then her other grandma also passed away before she should have, suddenly. So lots of ancestral trauma and females that have passed on, and I feel that I'm starting to have this healing connection with that side. And it's been so beneficial to me, but I just wondered if you could give me any insight regarding anything I've said. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you do.
Hello, Danae. And yes, that was your mother. She's been visiting you, since the moment she left. But you've raised your vibration enough that you can see her, feel her, recognize her presence. So yeah, that's her. So what a lot of people don't know, or maybe forget, is that our loved ones do come visit us and hang out with us and try to be helpful. But most people have no clue that their loved ones with them. Most people, even if they entertain it for a few moments, like, oh, I think that's Uncle Bert, and then after about 20 minutes, they go, no, no, that must have just been the wind, and Uncle Bert standing there rolling his eyes in a loving way, but in a kind of annoyed way, like, oh, I worked so hard so that they would, you know, think that maybe that was me, right? So, yeah, your mom's not surprised by your awarenesses now and the fact that you've begun to raise your vibration and your frequency, and having those many deaths and the female side of the family and young deaths. You chose this. You wanted to have this experience. A lot of people who have young deaths, whether they have a child that passes away young or they have a parent who, like in your case, passed away young, and then you have multiple family members who died young. One of the things you want to learn in this lifetime is to let go. And that's probably what's happening in this healing process, is you're finally surrendering and choosing not to be in this wound any longer. I mean, souls will leave whenever they want. I just only wish humanity was more prepared. It doesn't mean we won't miss people, but if we had a different teaching and understanding about the beautiful magic of coming into a body and exiting a body, I think that we would all approach it differently. And when children lose their parents young, the people around us react differently. They may feel really sorry for us. It doesn't mean that we don't want them to care for us or wish us well, or check in on us, but there's these weird things that almost re-victimize people. People who lose their children young definitely are victimized by just the stigma of losing a child at a young age. And these are the things we need to change. These are the things your mother's very interested in, because she doesn't think there was anything wrong with when she left. I mean, does she wish that you had had her, even now? Of course, but that's not what she wanted. She wanted to cross over and have different experiences for herself. It's really about the evolution of the soul. That's why the main reason why we come to Earth is evolution. And evolution is about changing perceptions and belief systems. That's literally what it is, right? That's literally what it is. So I hope that information is helpful.
Hi, Marie. This is Laura. Right now, I'm calling from Charleston, South Carolina. My question is, what is causing my husband's night sweats, and what can he do to resolve them? Several nights a week, he wakes up drenched in sweat.
Mm-hmm.
This started shortly after his first deployment to Iraq. He's had numerous medical workups and everything has came back within normal limits. I don't know if there may possibly be a PTSD element to his symptoms, but any insight that you can share would be very helpful. And we really thank you for what you do and everything you put out there into the world. Thank you.
You're welcome, Laura. Thank you. Thank you for everything you and your family do as well for the world. I really want his cortisol levels checked. And I know he's, getting things checked through modern medicine. It would be really nice if he had some panels, even hormones checked through, because men's hormones change too, through a naturopathic physician. There could be some PTSD. It would be great if he got some hypnotherapy done so he could eradicate some of these really scary, terrifying things that occurred when he was overseas. But I feel like his cortisol levels are elevated, and modern medicine does not take in account for elevated cortisol unless it's dangerously high and almost requires emergency surgery, or it's like life altering, like massively. So they don't look at cortisol levels, just like they don't look at most of the endocrinology the way naturopaths do. So for example, a modern medicine physician, let's say if someone's getting their thyroid checked, and remember, for all of our listeners, thyroid medication is the most prescribed medication in the United States. So most people don't speak their truth, which weakens the thyroid. So a modern medicine doctor may get thyroid results back, and they may not even check all of the thyroid stimulating parts of the hormone, because the thyroid is super complicated. They may just check T3 and T4, but there's other aspects of it that also need to be checked. So if it's like a low normal or a high normal, a lot of docs won't even treat. Whereas if you see a naturopath, they will. With herbs, they can also prescribe armor and other pharmacologies. Licensed naturopaths can prescribe. They're physicians, they're doctors, they're naturopathic doctors. They can prescribe medicine other than narcotics and chemotherapy. They have just about full range of all the medicines that modern medicine doctors can prescribe. So it would be nice if he got his cortisol levels checked. So it creeps up when you're under a lot of stress. And once cortisol is elevated, it can affect the rest of the hormones too. It's very complicated. I don't completely understand the aspect of it. So that's what I would think would be a great idea, and to find a great hypnotherapist and let him get hypnotized so that he's not triggered by these, harrowing events that he went through. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Stacey, and I live in Southern California. I'm so excited to leave this voicemail and to hear back from you. Thank you so much for offering this platform. I really appreciate you taking my question. My backstory, about 4 years ago, I lost my 22-year-old son, and it was obviously devastating and painful. And although I miss him daily, I truly believe it was a part of our soul contract for this to happen. Right after he passed, I had this weird deja vu feeling, like it was familiar. or like I knew it was going to happen in some way, and like something epic was going to come from it. What I thought was my heart breaking was really my heart opening.
Wow.
And I think it was opening to a new version of myself. So now his passing is sacred to me, and if anything, in an unexplainable way, I could say that it brings me joy.
Yeah.
And it's like his greatest gift to me.
Oh.
Since losing him, he has sent me the most incredible signs, and it's like all I want to talk about.
Great.
However, since his passing, everything in my life has been uprooted. My job, my health, my second marriage. And so now I'm starting over, brand new from scratch, and it's scary. But I truly believe that all these changes had to take place in order for me to align with my true calling, which finally brings me to my question, which is, what is my true calling? I have a feeling you're going to tell me to love myself immensely and embrace my magnificence, and also to follow my bliss, and then I'll eventually find my true calling. But I did want to see if you could ask my guides or even my son, you know, what my calling is. I'm thinking I have an interest in mediumship and in astrology.
Yeah.
And so I really plan on taking classes once my divorce is finalized in those subjects. But I just wanted to know if you see me pursuing a career or doing those things professionally. Thank you so much, and I'm sending you all my love.
Thank you, Stacey. And I'm so, you must be very proud of yourself. You must feel very proud that you were able to get on the other side of the grief. And of course, you will miss them every day. Every person that we love dearly who crosses over, especially before the human brain believes anyone should cross over. When we get to the other side, it's really quite remarkable. And you've done such a beautiful job. It's interesting how you had that really cool epic knowingness, you know, around the time that he crossed. I do think mediumship would be excellent for you to study. And I love the idea of combining mediumship and astrology. I'm just curious how your mind's going to look at astrology as a medium. I think that would be very cool and super interesting. And of course, you could potentially offer those things together, but even if you offer them separately, then you know, have more than one thing to offer, which would be really cool. And I'm sorry about all the losses after that too, right? The career, the relationship, it's just hard. You know, it's a hard thing, but what I heard is that you had made choices that were not in your best interest. You know, it doesn't serve people to do work that doesn't feed their soul or it's not fulfilling for them. It doesn't serve humanity. It doesn't serve them as an individual. And the majority of humans who are, and I can't speak for everybody on the planet, but the majority, this is what the universe says, and I can tell that it's true. The majority of humans in partnerships are not in alignments that are in their highest good. A lot of people marry or connect to individuals that they're for reasons mostly out of fear, not out of joyful connection, not out of, oh my gosh, we're going to have this incredible growth together. Now, sometimes people come together and they're great for a period of time, especially when it comes to procreation and taking care of children. And then if they outgrow each other, hopefully one or both people will turn and walk the other way at some point, because humans have not figured out yet how to be in long-term committed relationships that are fulfilling and highly beneficial and fortunate for one another. And the logical mind tells us that we should never leave, or, you know, all these things that we've been raised to believe through religion or cultural belief systems. We will get to a point where people will make better choices. And when I look at my daughters, I think all three of them made excellent choices and decisions. And I think part of that was because as young women, they hung out in groups of people that were not just female, but also male energy. And so they learned how to be friends, because all my daughters currently are heterosexual, and they learned how to be friends. So I think that helped them to make better choices. So we can see younger people making better choices or ending relationships more calmly and more lovingly if they need to, and then going out and finding healthier relationships. So it's improving, but the part of human culture that is changing consistently across the board is an alignment with work. People are choosing better and better work arrangements that feed their soul better as they are moving towards true purpose and true fulfillment. But I'm sorry for all those losses. But yeah, study mediumship, astrology. I think it's a great idea. Your son will help you, of course, as will many other beings throughout the heavens. Yeah, very exciting. Good job. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Dana. I live in New York. And I have been experiencing a lot of fatigue recently
Mm.
and wondering if there is something going on that you can give me guidance on.
Okay. Hi, Dana. I do think there's a lot of astrological things going on in your chart that could make you tired. And sometimes people just need to rest more. But I also heard that you need to severely change your diet. Cook more at home, eat healthy food. Sometimes when people eat a lot of raw vegetables, that's hard on their digestive system. It's hard to digest raw vegetables. Cook them a little bit or steam them. But what the universe is telling me overall, you need a change to your diet, healthier. Take out the sugar, don't eat high fat, eat healthier food, cook at home. I hope that helps. I truly do. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Catherine Hollingsworth. I am leaving you a message from Charlotte, North Carolina, and the occasion is that I have just put my condo on the market for sale. This is my first time selling property, and it has stirred up a ton of emotions and all kinds of old fears and memories of things that didn't go my way. So I am just wondering if you have any advice on how to be my best self right now, and how to kind of get out of the way for this sale to happen in the best possible way. So I can feel my energies all over the place, and any advice or insight you have is very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Hi, Catherine. Well, I mean, this is a seller's market still, I think, throughout the country, throughout the United States. So there's no logical reason for you to be upset. I think that when there's this habitual aspect of going into victim consciousness, the best thing you can do is ignore your brain, just ignore it as much as possible. Distract yourself, get off the topic, go do something that's really fun and fulfilling, and remind yourself this is a seller's market. Even with the interest rates as elevated as they are, there isn't enough homes on the market, right? We don't have enough homes for sale for people to purchase. And I mean, maybe you've already sold your condo by now, but I don't think you're going to have any issues or problems whatsoever. So ignore your mind. Don't pay attention to it. That will create a lot more happiness and fulfillment on any area that you ignore, that your mind is giving you false information about that's not even alignment to the truth, the easy, logical truth that's apparent everywhere. Okay? Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Ruchika. I am from Toronto and I've been taking some of your courses. I had a question. Could you look into my angels and who are my angels? And I want to be able to connect to them, but just wondering if you could just do an overall angel reading for me. Thank you so much.
Hello. I love Toronto, one of my favorite cities. I'm not a total big angel fanatic, quite frankly, but you do have departed family members close by you, like grandmothers, great grandmothers, great great grandmothers, grandfathers, great uncles. Because you're changing the family dynamics by choosing your own path. You could think of them as angels if you want to, because they're standing around you with great high consciousness and helping to kind of fan the flame of your individual decisions that you're making that are actually going against some of your upbringing, whether that's religious or whatnot. It's like you turned the corner and went a different direction than what your family taught you to do. And your family's kind of the family that's in the body are kind of watching like, oh, what's she doing? Well, that worked. Well, that's weird. I wonder why that worked out for her, because you're not necessarily taking the same steps that were taught to you or expected of you, but yet it's working out really nicely. So your family that's crossed, the family that's on the other side, is grateful for your courage, because we all know somebody, in order to get a family to change and get out of their dynamics, which we're not responsible for, by the way. Nobody is responsible for their family history. Souls are incredibly independent. But some souls really want to be that pioneering force. They want to be different. And when they are that, like a stone has been thrown into a very still pond. And then this rippling effect goes out, throughout the heavens, throughout future generations, past generations, allows for new forms of consciousness to set in, new belief systems to set in. Yeah, it's quite remarkable. So that's what I see. I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. Thank you so much for taking my question. So my question is can you please help me understand why my mom's mental health
Yeah.
will not improve?
Yeah.
She's tried different
Yeah.
medications. She also did the TMS therapy. Nothing is helping. Anything I can do? She
No.
tends to rely on me for her happiness, even though
No.
that's only temporary. So, any insight on that would be great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Diane. Your mom's soul is trying to teach you to stop caregiving and stop rescuing people. Your mom doesn't want this mental health situation to change. Not that I can see. I don't, even though clearly she's done new things and she says she wants to, it's her way. And I'm not saying that she's conscious of this necessarily, but it's her way to keep you kind of entrapped in this somewhat unhealthy relationship. So can you detangle yourself from having to make her happy? Can you detangle yourself from something that isn't bringing you joy, is not helping you to grow, and is really not your problem? Could you please consider, how can I detangle myself from this situation? Not in a way that, makes everything terrible for everyone, but your mother is safe. I don't know what all the circumstances are, but you could step away, you could back out, you could reframe your relationship, at least with yourself, because it feels very codependent to me and it doesn't feel healthy. And your mother doesn't want the mental health thing to go away. She doesn't, not from my perspective. And that's okay too. She doesn't have to. She gets to have the life that she wants to have. She is manifesting and creating it beautifully. It may not be what you want for her, and it may not be exactly what she says, but people are always creating, whether they recognize it or not, what they believe they deserve, what they believe is meant to be for them. So that's why it's important for everyone to really check their manifestation belief system. But yeah, your mother doesn't want to change. So what kind of relationship can you have with her if she's not going to change? Can you? Can you set some boundaries too and not be the one who you're not responsible for her happiness? Nobody is. That's something that she will either figure out or not. And it's okay if she doesn't. It's not the end of the world at all. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Marie. Hi, Marie. My name is Jane, and I'm from New York City. And I have the following question. I should preface the question very briefly by saying I, over the course of the last few weeks, came to the decision that I needed to end my 3-year relationship. And I did so about a week ago, and it was really hard and really painful, but it was just the right thing to do. We ended things amicably. I'm in the midst of planning to move out of our shared apartment. The lease expires a couple of months from now. And I'm really grieving the loss of the relationship because of the home that we were able to create. A home that I never a home that I never had, even when I was living with my biological caregiver. So anyway, my question is, will I be someone who is comfortably single for the rest of her life, or will I don't know, in a few years' time,
Yeah.
be able to meet somebody with whom I can share a life and at least build a home, even if my version of family is different? In other words, I don't have a desire to procreate, just to have
Yeah.
more pet fur babies, basically. Thanks, Marie.
Hi, Jane. Yes, you get to have whatever you want. I would work on your self-worth and your self-love so that you can attract someone that you can go the long haul with. And I would enjoy being single for the next 2 to 3 years while you're working on this, like really loving yourself, valuing yourself, appreciating yourself, doing some inner child work. That's why people have problems with relationships, whether they're intimate or not, is that inside of them, they don't feel worthy or deserving. Literally, they believe that, probably from previous life experiences, things that unfolded that made them think, oh, well, nobody loves me, or I'm not good enough, or, obviously people don't care about me. Look what happened to me. Look how they treated me. So that's what I would do, is I would work diligently on your self-worth and your self-love. And of course you can have another relationship. Yeah. And you could be happy single too. I would hope that you would be happy single for the next few years while you work on this inner healing and come into alignment with a vibration that's high for you so that you can attract something spectacular that you deserve. I hope that's helpful.
Hi, Marie. Just a question for the podcast. I'm sort of wondering about the sacral chakra, because if you follow the sort of Eckhart Tolle style of sitting in presence and allowing yourself to be present with all the emotion that's in there, I sort of find there's like a constant fear that sits there, like a fear and a sadness sort
Right.
of there as well. And I can allow that to be for like quite a long time, for hours and hours, just to see if it resolves. But it never seems to like resolve. It resolves like sort of goes away. It doesn't really go away, sort of stays there. And then I'll move on and go and have some food or something, and then I can't feel it, like I'm sort of disconnected from it.
Good.
And I can still like go about my day-to-day sort of stuff, like fine, writing books and doing furniture and bits and pieces. So I just wondered if you could like comment on that. Is that pretty common for sort of spiritually oriented people, having that? I guess it's sort of like a trauma or an unresolved emotion down there.
No.
And and then I'm sort of wondering if I should spend more time allowing it to resolve and not doing. I always feel like I shouldn't do anything else and just sit with that.
No.
If it's like the inner child's emotion that needs to be heard and processed first. But so I'd be interested to see how you deal with that. Is that common with everyone, or is that just me? I don't know. But yeah, sort of thought I'd check what you think of that. Okay, thank you very much. See you. Bye.
Thank you, Will. That's a really good question. And it's interesting you brought up Eckhart Tolle, because Eckhart Tolle has used the phrase the pain body. And he says it's a wound that's not even real, that is created from overthinking, analyzing, and processing when people are not present, because fear is also an illusion. It's not real. Fear is not real. And that we're not supposed to get stuck in our pain body. We need to learn to back away from the pain body, because then we lower our frequency, our vibration, we start reacting from the pain body. So I think it's interesting you've gone there and that you've spent that much time with it. I think it's kind of cool because you're very familiar with it. Now, can you allow yourself not to go into the pain body? You don't want to feed it. You want it to dry up. because it's not a real aspect of you. It's kind of a collective consciousness of this pain that comes from when we feel separate from source energy, which no one is ever really separate, but a lot of people feel separate and don't know exactly how to allow themselves to reconnect or have the feeling that they've reconnected, because there's no disconnect from source energy. There's no disconnect from our higher self. There's no disconnect from God. But when we feel this separateness, we move into what's called the pain body. And again, Eckhart Tolle, this is his wording and phrasing. And again, I think it's interesting you brought him up. So I would go read about the pain body. It's in one of his books. I don't know exactly which one, but I would definitely, you could probably Google it and find information about it, or maybe someone will make a note of it here on the comments on the YouTube channel and let you know where to find information on the pain body. And he does not recommend sitting in there, nor do I. You don't want to activate the pain body. We're trying to dry it up and not respond through this fearful sadness that's not even real. It's not even real, but it's cool that you discovered it. I think it's very cool. Thank you so much.
Hi, Marie. My name is Diane, and I am from New York. I have a question regarding a situation that I find myself in for many, many years. During a past life meditation, I saw the image of a farmer's wife filled with anxiety and crying. She stood in front of a farmhouse, a cornfield, and a barn. Her husband stood in the open doorway of the barn. He was holding a pitchfork and was extremely angry and looking at his wife. When I look to the field of corn, I know that my son, who was between the ages of 2 and 4, was missing and later found dead in the field. I would like to know if this was actually a past life for me, and I wonder if it is affecting me in this lifetime. The reason I ask is that I have a very unnatural reaction to anything I read or hear or see about any abused or neglected children, more so than the average person. An example of this is when I parked in a parking lot once and found 2 small children under the age of 2 in the back seat of a car. I called the police immediately, and while I was waiting, the mother came out of the store and did not seem upset about leaving her kids there, but was annoyed at me.
Right.
When the police officer showed up, he let her go without any consequences. I left that situation and literally cried for days about it, and really could not get past it for at least 2 weeks. There are other situations like this in my life, and I'm wondering if this past life, and what I can do to heal it. It's been something that has been in my life for over 50 years now. Thanks, Marie, for all you do. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. I'm sure that's very uncomfortable. It is a past life of yours. It truly is. And farms were dangerous places, not only because of the work that everyone had to do nonstop, but also everyone was isolated and away from each other. So you couldn't really check on your neighbors super well. You didn't really know what was going on farms. It was kind of creepy, in my opinion. But your husband in that past life, he was sick. Like, I don't know if he got bit by a rabid animal, but he was sick and he was dying. And that's why he was acting out. Your son looks a little malnourished when I see him in the cornfield. So there was definitely some neglect. I'm not saying it was your neglect. It could have been, again, from the husband, or I really don't know the situation. But I don't think it's just this past life. What I see, and everything really is about past lives, but if we can pay attention to the current lifetime and certain things that happen, and we can heal those, and we start to heal the misperceptions in previous lifetimes. So the next time, if you happen to wander up to a car and there are young children in the backseat, I would just wait And the police officer didn't do anything because most likely if he did, those children would be taken out of her care and put into foster care. Most foster care social work systems are not healthy. Children get separated, they go to weird places. It's not the best antidote unless it's truly, truly necessary. So I'm sure he made the right decision. So what I would do, if it were me, if I'd seen that, I would have been alarmed too. And I would just stand by the car, probably not more than 40 minutes. Then I might make a different choice, like go into the grocery store and keep an eye on it, or tell someone in the store, like the manager or something like that. I don't know what ultimately I would do if it went beyond 40 minutes, but I would stay there just like a guard watching, which I think you would have loved, just watching over the kids, waiting for mom to come out instead of getting mad at her. You don't know her circumstances. You don't know her situations. You don't know. And in some parts of the world, like I think it's in Sweden, for many, many years, infants would be left in strollers outside of shops, even in the freezing cold, but well wrapped and have, adequate blankets on them. And because it was safe. It used to be safe, or I think it still happens actually. So try not to project your own feelings. So what happened is that you did not get nurtured enough as a kid. I'm pretty confident of that. I mean, I'm really confident of that. And so what happens is you project your own insecurities of not getting the nurturing that you deserved. And then I was at a restaurant once with one of my daughters, and there was a family sitting next to us. It was just her and I. And then we were on a patio, and there was this young family there, a little kid, maybe just a little over a year old. And his mother was just saying the meanest things to him. I mean, I had a hard time not getting out of my chair and giving the mother a piece of my mind, and her husband, and either her mother or mother-in-law. And my daughter kept going, "Mom, it's okay, Mom. It's okay, Mom." And she was right. It really wasn't my place. He wasn't being physically injured. And, verbal abuse is something that's difficult to prove. It would have been very challenging. And so after I calmed down, which literally took quite a bit of my energy, I just kept sending beautiful bright light to this darling baby boy and just wrapped him in bright light and happiness and love, and did my very best not to be angry at his mother. And remember, children choose their parents before they reincarnate. So this has to do with your own inner wounds of not getting enough nurturing from your own childhood. I would start nurturing yourself. And if you run across these moments, because you're going to have a quick reaction, right? Just like I wanted to jump up and disrupt a family's dinner, that I probably would have been hauled off to jail if I did it. Really. Nurture yourself in that moment, take care of yourself, because you're being triggered and not being nurtured enough this lifetime, other lifetimes. And then I'll think you'll come up with different solutions that can be more efficient and effective. So this really has nothing to do with the kids that you're witnessing outside of yourself. It has everything to do with you, and your soul wants you to nurture yourself. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Thank you everyone for listening to the podcast. Please like and subscribe below, and we'll talk to you soon. Joyful blessings. Bye-bye.